Hey everybody, it's Moose again. Welcome back to Trading Recap. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I didn't make a video yesterday because I was pretty disappointed in myself and took a really stupid trade. Not even really a stupid trade in my opinion, but over-leveraged myself and, was super close to getting a payout with Apex and then just messed it up. I was probably about $100 away. I took like a $50 loss. I was like, okay, I'm going to trade with more contracts and, took a stupid loss. So account is still fine. Just have to work our way out of that hole, but I'm just kind of disappointed in myself on that. But besides that, I want to be open, but I've had a really good trading day today. Clawed up back a lot of losses and also really kind of boosted a lot of my other accounts. Specifically, I'm kind of focusing on some of my funded futures accounts right now. But I do want to touch on, I feel like I'm adding or finding out something new, on a weekly basis or even every single day when I'm trading to figure out how I can make myself better. And one thing that I've kind of noticed is that a lot of my zones that I've drawn, which, kind of maybe an indication here, are old zones. And nothing bad about old zones, but zones from days or even weeks ago in some case where, I think it's testing that zone and price ends up coming in, inherently rejecting it to a T. It's worked in the past, but I found that some of these quicker markets I'm getting swept out and I kind of got to play these fresher zones. One thing I will share with you guys, and, I'll kind of walk through a couple of the trades and even a trade that I, literally just took as well too, is really walking back through how I'm taking these trades. So, again, going through TradingView here, I use TradingView as kind of a different way to look at some of the markets, or how I like to look at it. So one tool that I added is this fair value gap. It's Lux Algo. And this has actually helped me a lot today with taking trades. So one thing I'll showcase, and I think it showcases fresh zone. You see the zone just get drawn. So that zone just got planted there and it's a red zone. So what I'll look for specifically, maybe I got to close this down. What I'll look for specifically now in this time frame is like, okay, I'll see some gaps within these trading zones here. And this is where I will end up potentially, drawing my zone out. I don't know if this is a zone here specifically, we're breaking out above it, but that's where I've kind of found like, hey, I can draw zones within that space and take trades in and out of that. So would have potentially worked out there. Again, we were inside that larger fair value gap and we're going back up and testing that. So once a fair value gap is tested and zones are not used anymore, you're not in that zone anymore, I just end up deleting it over and over again. So I think that's kind of helpful for myself. Maybe I'll walk back through some different trades that I took. Go back to 11:15. You can kind of see right around here we had some fair value gaps up top, and even near the I was going to kind of go through. You can kind of see them getting tested here and finding these wicks. This is where if I see a fair value gap, that's where I will end up going to my chart specifically and trying to find within that a little bit of itself a gap in price. One of my better trades of the day specifically was right around 11 here actually. So we ended up making a fair value gap and create a little bit of a zone to be tested in here. Let's see, I'll zoom in. We broke structure higher, and then to my case, like that I always like to look for is find some sort of a delta divergence here. So again, as a delta divergence after finding that base, again, I think we were looking at, this fair value gap right around here. Again, my time might not be exact on it, but your testing here is showcasing a bearish bullish fair value gap, getting that close of that candle. This was just extra icing on the cake here when we showcased an influx or an imbalance of buyers there as well too. So I rode this for about 3.5 points and then actually had a runner get TP'd around 5 or 6 points there, which was actually really nice. So, took multiple trades. I would say my other trade that I took as well too, and this is something that I've kind of, talked about. It's called the Delta Slingshot. So looking at my lower chart here, so this is a time-based chart. I don't usually use time-based charts, but 5 minute with a 40-day EMA or simple moving average. Really what it is it's a 1 minute chart in my mind with the 200-day moving average. So again, different time bases, you just adjust for that. So my idea behind the Delta Slingshot strategy is that whatever way price is going, again, a little bit of chop here, but you can clearly see the latter half of the day, we had a clear uptrend. And so what the Delta Slingshot is looking for, you're looking for really large delta sellers, really large down candles with a lot of sellers, and then kind of immediately a reversal where buyers kind of take that over as well too. Myself, I'll kind of walk through the trade real quick, but I was really happy because, one, we had a pretty strong uptrend. You know, I'm not saying that it couldn't just broke down here. You know, there was a high potential chance. I was kind of debating between a long or a short, depending on really what the data showcased to me, and it showcased a long. But for me specifically, you know, I was looking at this, I'm like, okay, like, is this a bull flag or is this really a consolidation, an accumulation and a distribution to the downside? And looks like we got that downside move here. Again, I don't really try to trade after 2:30 or really 30 minutes after, but really what I want to touch on here, and this is just looking at the data specifically, is, you know, we're lining up here. We had, you know, very strong move up, you know, and inherently this was somewhat of a bearish play because we had a lot of buyers here and we couldn't push price higher. But again, we aren't looking for shorts specifically because my rule is that if we're above the 200-day minute average, so kind of that intraday trend, we're looking for longs in this case. But what ended up happening is that we saw large delta sellers, large sellers here, and actually this delta divergence here. And then for me to enter that trade, I need a close with, you know, somewhat strong buy orders, or even if it was a delta divergence as well too, above, you know, the recent candle. I got long around here. I was a little skittish just because we actually had the sell imbalances from this morning. So I actually ended up only taking about 3 points on this. So, but could have definitely let it ran from probably at 10 points altogether. But I took about 3.5 points on the first TP, and I think I took like 4.5. So I was really happy with that trade as well too, just because I think it really showcased kind of a rules-based trade set on it, and also that, hey, you know, like, I've seen other people trade this, you know, similar strategy in a way, the Delta Slingshot, and often I think a lot of people would probably get trapped going short here just for the fact that it would be basically the same move in reverse. But for me to add more confluence is looking at it in an uptrending market. So overall, I think I did really well today. I'm still pretty disappointed about yesterday. Too much size, was really close to getting, you know, the payout, but again, it's part of the process of trading. So unfortunately, but again, that's how you learn. That's how you get better every single day. So, but I'll keep trying to make these and reach out if people have questions. Please.